Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and I did promise you a video. Now I will tell you that this goes directly into somewhat of full-on tinfoil hattery and a bit of, conspiracy Dale Gribble stuff. So, um, look, take it all with a grain of sand and or pound of sand and all the sands. But I did wanna bring this to you. I mean, it has been brought up to me a couple times, so I did wanna bring it up to you guys, but, I did wanna preface it with, you know, possibly could be, a bit of the conspirosity, so but a man did lose his life, so I did not want to wear, the man bear pig hat because now this happened, 2022. And there are some links, so I will get into those. A federal grand jury indicts a man for the murder of Terre Haute police detective who served as an FBI task force officer. Now, we have been going through the memo, and this name might not stand out to you, but the name is Detective Greg. I'm going to hopefully say this correctly. Ferency. He was one of, let me pull up the memo. So let me stop the screen. I am going to be semi-professional one of these days. I do promise. Let's see here. So in the memo, if you remember sort of in the introduction, Detective Ferency was part of this group of 3 officers, Kevin Murphy, sorry, Greg Ferency, and Todd Click. They were the 3 sort of officers that kept, investigating sort of this offbeat odinite, uh, you know, theory, and officer or detective, Click was the gentleman who proceeded on to, send a certified letter to the prosecutor to make sure that all of these leads had been followed up on and that, Richard Allen was their man. Now, I was not aware that I had not made the connection that Greg, Frenzy was the man targeted in the Terre Haute attack. The other link in this case to the Delphi, sort of crime theory, if you will, is that the gentleman who has been detained. We'll get into the article, I guess, but the federal grand jury indicts a man for murder of the Terre Haute police detective, and I forgot to stop screen and share screen, and I swear to goodness, guys, I'm going to get it all together. I really will. So the grand jury indicts him. This was on January 19th, 2022, and I, honest to goodness, didn't put this together until I had several people kind of say, "Hey, that was, 2 and 2 make 4." And Ferency isn't a very, common name. Also, my geography is terrible, and Terre Haute and Delphi are somewhat close together. Again, I am not always firing on all cylinders, but I will give you information as I receive it. Terre Haute, a federal grand jury in Indianapolis, returned an indictment today charging a Terre Haute man with the murder of a federal officer, attempted arson of federal property, and using a firearm during a crime of violence causing death. The charges against Shane Meehan, 45, stem from a July 7th, 2021 killing of a Terre Haute police detective and FBI task force officer Gregory Frenecy. Meehan was previously charged by a federal criminal complaint filed July 8th, 2021. According to documents, on July 7th, 2021, Meehan drove his pickup truck to the gate of the FBI resident agent building in Terre Haute. Meehan exited his truck, threw a Molotov cocktail toward the building. Shortly thereafter, Terre Haute police detective and FBI task force officer Gregory Ferency walked out of the building and was confronted by Meehan, who was holding a firearm. Meehan then shot TFO Ferency, who died of his injuries. Quote, every day, federal, state, and local law enforcement officers are entrusted to protect the public and uphold equal justice under the law at the risk of their own lives. As such, the murder of a federal enforcement officer in the line of duty is an attack against our entire community, said Zachary A. Myers, United States Attorney for the Southern District of Indiana. Quote, perpetrators of such crimes must be held accountable. Our thanks and admiration go out to those who selflessly to the assault responded to the assault at the Terre Haute FBI resident agency. Department of Justice extends its heartfelt sympathies to the TFO's Ferency's families, friends, and colleagues for his tragic death. This indictment is another step towards bringing resolution to the ambush of the task force officer, Ferency, who was one of 73rd law enforcement officers intentionally killed in the line of duty last year, and one of our three of our own FBI family to lose their lives at the hands of others. FBI Indianapolis Acting Special Agent in Charge Gregory Nielsen. We continue to mourn Greg's tragic loss and are reminded every day of the ultimate sacrifice he made while serving his community and country. We are committed to a thorough and meticulous investigation to bring resolution to this case and assure accountability. The defendant was arrested July 7th, 2021, and has been detained in the custody of the United States Marshals pending his trial. He will make an initial appearance on the indictment before the United States magistrate judge at a later date. The murder and firearms charges are capital offenses punished by life imprisonment or death. Now, I do know, skipping a bit forward, that he is not going to get the death penalty, however you feel about that. Now, let me find the other thing I had on this. I am, super de-duper professional, as you. So there are several different things that I wanted to share with you about this, because some of this I'm getting from different sources, but the other thing that you need to know about Sean, or Shane, depending on how you say it, Meehan, is that he worked as a Department of Corrections officer in Westfield Correctional Facility, where Richard Allen is being held right now. Again, these could all just be coincidences of, the highest order. And, two things can be true at the same time. This guy could have a legitimate dislike of the FBI and work at, the jail and just happen 2 + 2 = 2. But I did see the links here, and I did want to tell you these. So, an Indiana man was charged with murder after FBI task force officer was shot outside of a federal agency. So, again, it does seem a little bit odd that the task force officer who was in charge of, you know, one of the officers in charge of going after Delphi, but again, I'm wearing my tinfoily hat. So it could be again that he was just the first officer that came out of the building to engage this particular man who had a beef against, you know, the government. But I figured its weirdness tangentially related to Delphi, and take it with all the pounds of salt, but watch your cholesterol. The suspect accused of ambushing and fatally shooting FBI task force officer Greg Ferency outside the FBI building in Indiana on Wednesday has been identified and charged. Shane Meehan, 44, of Terre Haute, was charged Thursday with the murder of federal agent. He's convicted. He's going to face life in prison, obviously. Unfortunately and sadly, Ferency had been a task force officer since 2010 and was a 30-year Terre Haute Police Department veteran. He is survived by 2 adult children. And Wednesday, the ambush that unfolded at approximately 2:15 p.m. local time, Meehan allegedly drove his pickup truck to the gate of the FBI Indianapolis resident agency in Terre Haute lobbed a Molotov cocktail towards the building, according to the criminal complaint. So Ferency walked out shortly after the explosive was thrown and confronted and was shot by Meehan. Ferency returned fire to defend himself, but died from the wounds that he sustained. An FBI special agent heard the gunfire and ran out of the building and engaged Meehan in a gun battle, the affidavit said. Meehan, despite being shot twice, got into his truck and fled the scene and was later located at a hospital where he was being treated, according to the complaint. Officials said in a press conference Thursday that the suspect was in custody and being monitored by federal agents at the Terre Haute Regional Hospital. Officials recovered 3 Molotov cocktails and additional ammunition in Meehan's pickup truck, the complaint stated. The FBI is investigating the case. So this is the same, I believe, quote that was in the other article. Paul Keegan, Indianapolis special agent in charge, said during a press conference that Thursday, officials can't say if the suspect knew Ferency. They're still looking into a motive. It's not clear if Ferency was specifically targeted. Search warrants were executed at the suspect's home and the vehicle Wednesday, and evidence was seized. Officials said Thursday's processing of the crime scene has continued. We are used to taking types of risks as law enforcement officers, all of us are, when we are conducting arrests, doing searches, etc. But to have someone come, as you say, to our front door and commit this kind of act is a step beyond and affects us all immensely, said Keegan. It's a small office, a tight-knit group of people, so it's definitely a difficult situation. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb called Ferenczy's death senseless in a statement on Twitter. The tragic death, or quote, the tragic events that unfolded today are senseless. Our heart breaks for Detective Greg Ferency's family and loved ones who served with him every day, protecting the residences of Wabash Valley, Holcomb said. My wife and I are thinking of the Terre Haute Police Department and community and Detective Ferency's family, and I know they will be steadfast in honoring his life and service and dedication to the residents of Vigo County. Indiana Senator Matt Braun, oh, of course he would have to do something, also tweeted about the tragedy and called on the public to keep Ferency's family and colleagues in their prayers. So a lot of this is just every single politician getting their thoughts in because, there's nothing a politician loves more than getting their thoughts in. I am looking at current stuff for this case, so let's see if they've got anything new. Thus far, nothing new has popped up that I have seen. This doesn't seem like there's any real forward movement, but that could be just me, and I'm a bad uh, detective, if you will. Still a little off, which, for me is unfortunate, if you will. It can also be. So let's see if we can find some stuff about Shane, because I have not found a whole lot other than he used to, in fact, be a correctional officer. Now, I will go ahead and let you all know that I do not have feral levels of, stuff. But I did find something because while having not feral level of awesomeness, okay, from the Tribune Star, because I'm trial date in slaying of detective moved to October. So there might be, okay, sounds wonderful. So there might be something that we can watch about this. This is the gentleman again. Put a goatee on this guy and a deer hunting hat. I mean, are we looking at something? Again, tinfoily hat time. But I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Sorry, guys. I promise by next week I will probably be back. A trial for Shane Meehan, a Terre Haute man federally charged with killing Greg Frenecy, a police detective, and FBI task force agent has been rescheduled for October. This was in April 3rd, 2023. U.S. District Judge James Patrick Hallen on March 31st granted an unopposed defense motion for a continuance. It was filed in March 27th. Defense said Meehan was outside federal court's Southern District of Indiana for area of competency evaluation and would not be back in time for previously scheduled May 8th trial. His attorneys previously referred to his condition as brain damage and mental illness. Well, I mean, if that's the only gamble you can play, by all means, but he seemed to be able to construct at least 4 Molotov cocktails, so I don't know. The judge set new dates of October 11th for final pretrial conference in Indianapolis and a trial date to start on October 30th in Terre Haute, so this might be something that we can watch as we wait for the final countdown on Delphi or the Franks hearing if it happens. Meehan faces up to life imprisonment if convicted. Prosecutors had previously informed the court they would not seek the death penalty. Frenecy was shot to death July 7th, 2021, outside the FBI office in Terre Haute. The government alleges Meehan, then 44, drove his pickup truck to the gate of the property, got out of the truck, threw a Molotov cocktail at the office building. Ferency then walked outside and was shot by Meehan, the government said. Meehan was subsequently indicted on a federal charge of premeditated murder of a federal officer, attempted arson on federal property, and the use, carry, or discharge of a firearm during a retaliation of a crime of violence causing death. Ferency was 53 and a 30-year veteran of the Terre Haute Police Department. So I wonder what this trial is going to kick up. It's very sad to see that this officer's life ended so tragically, regardless of any tinfoil hattery, any sort of link to Delphi. This man, you know, seemed to love his job, seemed to love to do his service, and, really put his neck out there to continue to, kind of go against the sort of good old boy network or whatever, the Unified Command, United Concordia, whatever they're calling it in Delphi, to, look at alternate theories to try to really find justice for the girls, and did not deserve to be ambushed outside of his work by this Yahoo allegedly. And this might be an interesting trial. I know federal trials uh, are not streamed, so obviously we'll have to, keep an eye on this through articles and different things. I do hope he gets justice. I hope maybe we get some information out of this, maybe find out the reason that this particular office was targeted. I Regardless of if it has any links to Delphi, why this man decided to do this, sometimes, we don't get a why, but it'd be nice to get a why in this case because it seems like this officer devoted his life to really getting justice for the people. You know, we talk a lot about officers who kind of slough off their job or don't look at all the evidence. And it seems like this officer and the 3 officers in the memo, you know, of which he was one, really went above and beyond and really tried to look at every lead. So I really hope that he does get the justice that, you know, we strive to give every victim in this country a fair and balanced justice. So that is what I have for you guys. I hope it wasn't too tinfoily. Again, I am sorry for the kind of glitchiness I'm having. I am feeling a lot better, but still have a little glitchiness left. Hopefully this kind of slower week with a little less videos will help. And then by next week, I will be back in the swing of things. So thank you for this slower week and understanding. And I will see you all for the newsy news at night. And we will have some fun stories, some weird stories, and some stories that just, the stories that I pick. things that I find funny. It is what it is. I will see you all. Share this if you find it interesting. Get more eyes on this, regardless of its link to Delphi. More people should know about Officer Gregory. I'm going to say Ferency, and his sacrifice, because you know what, this gentleman allegedly came to his house, and you know Officer Frenzy did what most of us won't. He went out and he met the threat head on, and regardless of, you know, his life being forfeit or not, he met the threat head on so that other people would be safe. And if that's not real life positive masculinity and bravery, then I don't know what is. So thank you very much for your service, sir. And I hope your family is finding strength. I know that this trial is going to be dead awful for them. So I hope that they are getting all the love and support that they need. I will see you guys later for Newsy News. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. I will see you all at 7 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time.